Welcome to Uncaged, a show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we're speaking with Tom Neyhart. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about what you're working on. Tom is the CEO of PosiGen. PosiGen has a very powerful mission, which is to make a positive financial impact on customers' lives by providing green energy solutions to low to moderate income homeowners. And that is such a critical task as we all push for a more sustainable future. And so I'm excited to talk more about that with Tom. But before we get there, Tom, tell us a little bit about your background and your career.
Oh, I guess I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur. My wife, Lisa, and I have owned, operated, managed, consulted with, or invested in over 20 companies in the decades that we've been married. Saying decades we've been married, that my wife will kill me for that one. But really enjoyed doing a lot of different things over my career. I've worked in retail, I've worked in construction, owned a recruiting firm. Heck, we even had a small company that did medical transcriptions, which I found extremely interesting. But
Wow.
done a lot over the years. But love to build things. That's I think the core of who I am.
Excellent. Well, I think that if you have a partner that collaborates with you to do that, that's a healthy entrepreneurial relationship. But it obviously looks like PosiGen is your latest and greatest solution here. Tell me more about how you guys have built that and what you're working on at the moment.
So, we were post-Katrina 5 years, and I'll tell you, New Orleans is definitely a tale of two cities. If you went down to Lakeview area, people had their houses rebuilt, they were elevated, they had solar, they had energy efficiency. It looked like a whole new city was being built there. But when you went to New Orleans East and some of the other low-income areas, the doors were still hanging off the hinges. There were the X's on the doors from people identifying bodies in the homes, and it was tough. It really was. And my wife was working with low-income families at the time, and I was helping rebuild pump stations for the city, and we were trying to think about how we could have a positive impact in those communities. And at the time, Louisiana had a pretty good solar tax credit, and we started taking a look at that and saying, why are people selling solar to rich people? That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. What if we help people that don't have a high income? What if we, worked with the blue collar families and tried to have a positive impact in their lives? And so, that's where the idea was born out of. And from there, we started looking at how much savings can you get from solar alone? And we wanted to do energy efficiency work. If we could create good, clean, inexpensive power, but then if we could reduce the amount of power that the house needed, that would double the savings, or at least I shouldn't say double, but it would significantly increase the savings that people got. And when you're talking about older housing stock, especially in a lot of these low-income neighborhoods where people are living in 110-year-old shotgun houses, that made all the difference in the world. And so we came together and figured this out. We put together a plan. Of course, then we went out to all the financial institutions and said, hey, we have a great idea. We're going to sell solar and energy efficiency to low-income families. We're not going to check their credit. We don't really care how much money they make because it's all about savings. And boy, that sounds like a great idea, but there's the door.
Yeah.
So.
Well, tell me, how did you convince them? That's a great process. It's funny, we all have to go through that process of not only coming up with the idea, mapping out a commercial model that we think it will work, but then convincing creditors and investors to come along for the ride. So what was the insight that got them on board?
Well, it actually was just kind of proving out the pudding. We never got an early financial investor, so a friend of ours helped us get a couple $1 million loan from a bank, and we went out, and not only did we show that we could install the solar, but more importantly, we showed that we could get these energy savings from the energy efficiency work that we did. And there was just such a pent-up demand. And I remember flying somebody in from one of the financial institutions that had turned us down. I said, just come take a look. And when she came into our office, I showed her a stack of 1,500 contracts that people wanted us to install solar in Louisiana.
Wow.
And she said, oh my gosh, I'm going to do something. We're going to figure this out. And that was in 2012, a year after we had started. And that was our first deal. U.S. Bank put us on the map, and they've been great partners ever since. And, they've been committed to our mission to help underserved communities. And, we started building from there. And over the years, I had somebody tell me at a solar convention, he said, I met you 3 years ago. I didn't figure you'd be back after 1 year, much less 3 years.
Well, there you go. I guess the rule of the entrepreneur is that every year you exponentially become more likely to survive. So that's an amazing story. But, it's really interesting, the space that you're playing in. Clearly sustainable or, renewable energy is a topic that a lot of individuals are thinking about now and focused on. But your take on it, it's interesting. You kind of, I think, took a bit of a zig while everyone else is zagging approach to kind of answer two birds with one stone in a way. And so tell me a little bit about how you guys think your model is essential in business today.
Yeah, our model is definitely different. We tell people all the time we're the Southwest of solar, right? We only had one system size, and everybody else, they want to customize for everybody. We're like, no, it's solar in a box, it's energy efficiency in a box, and it was easy to understand. And I think it's essential because the communities that we spend most of our time working on aren't being serviced by any other communities, and there's just no way to achieve the climate goals and to really have the impact and penetration if you're only selling to a small amount of the population. And when you think about owner-occupied, very affluent neighborhoods versus low to moderate income neighborhoods, owner-occupied, the amount of rooftops is so much greater in those areas. And look, in a lot of those areas, that's where the poorest air quality is. So you want to do that energy efficiency work that makes the air quality in the home so much healthier. But I don't think that we can get there as a country to our goals, not only of climate, but also our energy goals. I'm not one of those people that says we shouldn't have oil, we shouldn't have natural gas, we shouldn't have nuclear. I believe every type of energy, with the exception of coal, right? Nobody should be burning coal. That's a dirty fuel. And look, nobody burned coal in their house if they could avoid it. They don't want to breathe the coal dust and everything that goes with it. But we need to balance our approach to energy, and we do need to continue to shift to renewables. It creates jobs. It's, the technology is advanced so much. The cost has come down so much. It makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. I think that was always the barrier that people spoke about, which was the cost, but it seems like you've worked out a model that actually allows you to do that. But certainly growing any business as well as your own business in PosiGen, there are challenges that you guys face. What are some of the larger challenges that you face when you're taking the business to market today?
Yeah, we talked about the first one, right? It was getting financial partners that believed in us, eventually being able to get institutional money. And I think that we've solved that problem. There's always a personnel issue. It's going into a new market, building up a sales team, building up an operations team, being able to deliver the product, as we call it, putting glass up on roof. But it is interesting, right? It's interesting that when you're working in low-income communities, when you're working in blue-collar communities, that building that trust in the community, people have been taken advantage of, and it's tough to say, but people in the solar industry has taken advantage of customers. And, one of the worst practices I believe we have as an industry is paying people a commission based upon what they sell the product for. So the higher price you charge the customer, the bigger commission you're going to get. Well, the doctors and the lawyers and the engineers don't pay those higher prices. They pay attention. They've done their research. It's the little old ladies. It's the working class families that don't have the time to be able to do that research. So we have a fixed price. We charge the same price to everybody, and so our people make commission on volume, not on trying to take advantage of a customer. And getting people to understand that and then embrace it And once that happens, then we see our market penetration just, it's exponential. So it's finding the people, it's explaining the product and the approach, and it's getting people to buy in. And once we do that, then we do very well in the markets. And we do a lot of partnerships with towns and cities and not-for-profits because they see the impact.
Right.
And they see that money's not going out the door to an investor-owned utility that is paying dividends to people out of state. Money's staying in the community. It's getting spent in the community. It's creating a tax base. It's creating jobs and supporting businesses within the communities that need it the most.
So, I mean, Tom, it's incredible the impact of what you're doing can actually have on communities. And I may be answering the next question for you, but let me change gears a bit and just ask you, you guys have built this out since 2011. You've seen the transformation of the energy industry. What gives you the most joy now when you're going to work and making this happen?
I mean, it's twofold, right? It's talking to the families that we make a difference in. It's when a customer sends you an email or we're out at an event and somebody comes up and tells us the difference that we've made. It was funny, we were having a company picnic 2 weeks ago out at Audubon, a little plug for our zoo out here. And one of our new team members, his mother had come into town and she'd never been to New Orleans. And she tells me a story. She got on one of these hop-on, hop-off buses to be able to tour the city. And she starts talking to the driver. And the driver's talking about, utility prices and paying bills and how tough it is. And he said, yeah, one of the best things we ever did is we found this company that not only gave us solar, but did energy efficiency. And my utility bill went down so far, we were able to pay our bills. And, now when prices are going through the roof, I'm not having the troubles that my neighbors are. And she said, would that be PosiGen? He said, how'd you know? And he said, my son just went to work for him. And you think about a bus driver, right? That's a blue collar job. That's somebody that takes their lunch pail to work every day. The other companies, they don't focus on customers like that. They wouldn't have given them that opportunity. So hearing stories like that are amazing. And the other part is, we hire from the same communities that we service. And, over 65% of our employees are persons of color or female or both. A lot of single mothers work for us. And to see them have a career here, I mean, we pay a living wage. We were paying a living wage back in 2011 when nobody was. And now we're $16 an hour is our bare minimum wage if you sweep the floor. We have incentive programs for almost all of our team members and a great benefits package. And you see people that feel like they belong and they're included and just the fun that they have at work and the ability to get promoted and receive the training to achieve their personal and professional goals. And like today, I walked in and they're having Spirit Week this week, and they're all in their pajamas, walking around fuzzy slippers and yelling at me because I didn't come in my jams. But seeing the team that we built here and watching their successes is just it's empowering. It feels great. It's humbling, but it motivates.
Well, I mean, I can only see that this is so critical and in some ways leads perfectly into the last question I have for you today, which is, we find ourselves walking out of a pandemic and into another challenging situation in the market with economic questions and lots of discussions about recessions. And I can definitely see how your product will help people cover their energy costs for sure. But what's your hope for the near future?
I mean, continuing to build, right? We went from 250 employees to 500. We need to go to 1,500 and then 5,000. We want to help as many families as we can across the country. I think we need to be smart about our growth. Inflation hurts everyone. The more we can save people money, the more we can deliver on our promise. I think that the greater our opportunity to continue to expand. We're doing business internally in 5 states, opening up our 6th. And, now we've got channel partnerships where we're financing other companies that want to have an impact in low-income communities. They want to help people and continuing to expand both our organic growth and our channel partner growth. I think, I want to see us get to that. I want to see 5,000 employees. I want to see us in 25, 30 states. I want to help as many families as we can and be talking about helping 50,000 or 100,000 families a year, not, 4, 5, 6,000 families that we are right now, or hope to in the next year. I want to see us make a difference.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, you guys are making such a huge impact already. If somebody wanted to learn more about what you and the team are up to, Tom, where's the best place to connect with you?
Connect on our website, PosiGen.com, POSIGEN. It's for positive generation. Go to our website. If you're interested in a career, we're always hiring. If you're interested in just learning more about us, we've got lots of the history of PosiGen there.
Well, I mean, it's been an incredible conversation, Tom. I mean, I love the story of what you've built. I've been speaking with Tom Neyhart. He's the CEO of PosiGen. He founded PosiGen in 2011 with the mission to make a positive financial impact on customers' lives by providing green energy solutions to low to moderate income homeowners. PosiGen has expanded dramatically since those early days. You can find them not only in Louisiana, but in New York, Connecticut, Florida, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., California. Does this list ever stop, Tom? Mississippi, and clearly coming to your state soon. Tom, thank you so much for being on Uncaged today, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Cheers.